Hi everyone, sorry I couldn't be there today, but I will be back tomorrow, okay? We just have a softball game for playoffs. So today you're going to be working on Let's Talk Climate Change. If you remember last week we had watched this live webinar. The recording of it is right here. If you remember, we went through most of it. One more time, and we were just missing the last 15 minutes. Honestly, I don't think it's the most important that you rewatch everything. So I would just recommend that you pay attention to what I'm saying here and then just jump in wherever you think you need to go into, okay? So just a reminder that this assignment can be found on our SVN 3E9 under assignments. Okay, so assignments, and then if you scroll all the way down, Let's Talk Climate Change is right over there. And then you click on the link like usual. Okay, so just like normal. Anyways, so you'll notice that even though you already maybe downloaded a copy of this, or sorry, made a copy of this, you'll notice that most recently on Friday, I added a bunch of timestamps. So you may want to go back into the assignment and then re-download this. Just so that you have this information readily available. Okay, so let me just remind you, so the link is right there for the YouTube video. Remember, it's pretty long. It's about an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes, okay? But what I ask you to do, if you remember, is to write a brief paragraph, approximately 75 to 100 words, about one thing that was presented to you that you found interesting, and I want you to explain. So you describe why it's interesting, provide some details of what was presented, and what was your reaction to it. Okay, and then you're going to do that twice. So two different items where you find something interesting, and then finally the third question is, what is something that you would like to learn more about, and what are some questions that you have about that item and why. Okay, so 5 marks, 5 marks, and 3 marks. So there's lots of opportunities for you to kind of give your input or ask some questions and explain about how you're feeling or what you found interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this list in case any of you have trouble reading this. Okay, so in this video that's linked at these timestamps more or less, as we were going through, I just made note of what the main topics were at that time. Okay, so if you remember at 8 minutes, there's a grade 11 student, so in the same grade as you, who was part of the research team. If you find that interesting, jump in over there. 11 minutes, they were doing the polling questions, which were kind of interesting. 13 minutes, they talked about being out in nature to learn about climate change. 23 minutes, they talked about the IPCC reports. 24 minutes, they talked about the risks to different ecosystems and how some are more at risk than others. At 26 minutes, they talked kind of interesting about polar bears skiing and hockey. At 30 minutes, they talked a little bit more about indigenous knowledge, which was kind of cool. 33 minutes, problems with climate action affecting indigenous people. 36 minutes, indigenous ways of doing things. 42 minutes, climate change in Canada. The stats specifically, the stats that are specific to Canada were related with climate change. That was kind of cool too. At 54 minutes, they talked about the complexities of climate change. 56 minutes, climate change affecting northern communities with an emphasis on beluga whales. 1 hour and 2 minutes, what can students do to impact climate change? 1 hour and 6 minutes, what contributes more to climate change? Because this is something that I often think about. Is it just everyday people that affect climate change more? Or is it like the big industries and the factories? So they talk about that a little bit more. At 1 hour and 8 minutes, how Momin, that grade 11 student, got involved in the first place in the Climate Action Lab, because sometimes as students you might feel like, oh, I only have so much power to do things and what's the point? But here's an example of someone who's exactly the same age as you who's getting very involved, which is kind of cool. Okay, 1 hour and 9 minutes, they talk about deleting emails as a way of reducing your carbon footprint. At 1 hour and 11 minutes, they actually talk about Bitcoin server farms. 1 hour and 12 minutes, veganism, reducing your carbon footprint, 1 hour and 14 minutes. What are the top 3 things that high school students can do? Okay, so just focus in on 2 of these topics. For example, talk about how you're interested in them and give some details. Remember, about 75 to 100 words. Just as a side note, there is a tool. Okay, so let's just say this was my paragraph. Okay, and I wanted to see how many words are in this area right here. I can go to Words, Tools, Word Count, and then in my highlighted little part right there, there is 74 words. Okay, so right there, that's right at the edge of about how many words I'm looking for in your little paragraph. Okay, so 74 words over here. Okay, so about this much in terms of one paragraph, just to explain a little bit of what you found was interesting for number 1 and number 2, and then something that you would like to learn more about. Okay, so please try your best to finish off this assignment today. I hope these little timestamps help you, and then the video is linked right there. Okay, take care and see you tomorrow. Have a great class, everyone. Bye.